Now, Iran's foreign minister has called for a political solution to end the crisis in Syria.
We believe that a political solution is the only way to end the crisis in Syria. The sole path to end extremism, terrorism and sectarianism is to accept the Syrian people's demand through ballot boxes. Iran will participate in the upcoming Geneva II talks in Syria if it's invited without any preconditions. However, we're not seeking this invitation.
Now, Javad Zarif made the remarks in a press conference during his visit to the Lebanese capital, Beirut, later on Sunday. He said the two countries are faced with common challenges, including terrorism and extremism. He also praised the Lebanese government for capturing Majid al-Majid, the mastermind behind the twin deadly bomb attacks on Iran's embassy. He also said the ties between Tehran and Beirut are of great importance, as Lebanon plays a key role in the region, and also its people have long resisted Israel's occupation. On a question regarding ties with Saudi Arabia, Zarif said Iran has always sought to improve its relations with the neighboring countries and is ready to hold talks at any levels, that is, with Saudi officials. Iran's foreign minister is set to visit Iraq, Jordan and Syria. Well, to discuss the situation in Syria a bit further, we're being joined by Dr. Wilmer Leon. He's a professor with Howard University, and he's joining us via Skype from Washington. Many thanks for joining us here on Press TV, Dr. Leon. Now, first of all, as people look forward to this Geneva II peace conference, there is that question about the participation of Iran. What do you think Iran brings to the negotiating table?
Well, I think Iran brings what so many of the other countries in the region bring. Well, a level of credibility, a level of interest in seeing to it that there is success in a political solution to this issue. And also, I think in the longer term, as countries are negotiating with them as it relates to the nuclear discussion, bringing them into the broader international discussion on issues, I think shows a good faith effort in that regard as well.
Well, now, also another thing that the Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif did say that Iran will not accept any preconditions when it comes to these talks. And speaking of preconditions, we've also seen the SNC's leader Ahmed Jarba right now saying that the Assad family and Bashar al-Assad himself has no future in Syria and that he must leave. That is quite clearly a precondition to come to the negotiating table, that Assad should go. Do you think that's very conducive towards finding a solution to what's happening in Syria right now?
Well, no, I don't think that it is conducive to finding a solution, but at the same time, I think that is a lot of the pre-discussion rhetoric that takes place before talks like this begin. Both sides are going to take as extreme of positions as possible so that when they finally do come together, any concessions that are made are deemed to be deemed to be more significant than they would be otherwise.
And also, just before we let you go, what authority do you see, or credibility, so to speak, the quote-unquote opposition brings to the negotiating table, specifically considering the infighting that we're seeing taking place on the ground in Syria, and also a difference of opinion within the Syrian National Coalition, the Syrian National Council?
Well, I think that right there is the big question, because with the infighting that is taking place, with the most recent developments and the problems that the supposed coalition is having, that is giving President Assad a stronger position and enabling him to say, I'm not going anywhere. So that, to me, is really the big question. What authority will the Free Syrian Coalition be able to bring into the negotiations if they do send a delegation? I believe they will, for no other reason than they have to maintain the moral high ground in this discussion. And I know that the Western powers that are backing them are putting an awful lot of pressure on them to resolve their internal differences at least to the degree that will enable them to send a coalition and be able to engage in some dialogue.
Okay, lots of questions remain there. That was Dr. Wilmer Leon, professor with Howard University. They're joining us via Skype from Washington. Dr. Leon, thank you very much for your comments here on Press TV.